Hi.
Hi, how are ya?
Good. Welcome back to the second episode of Rainy City Murders. I realized we did not introduce ourselves.
No, we did not.
So, my name is Peyton.
My name is Verity, and I'm Peyton's mom.
Yes, she is.
So we decided to do this because we thought we are total buffs about crime and drama. We watch crime stories all the time.
And I love documentaries.
And documentaries, but they never cover certain things which we think are so important. So some of the ones we are doing are going to be a different viewpoint of what they've covered. Now, this episode today, I have no idea who it's about or what we're covering because my daughter decided not to tell me. So I will be learning along as everybody else.
Okay. So, I know I said last week that we were going to do a case that involved Ted Bundy. We will. I'm pushing it back though.
Okay.
Because this case happened in started in 1978, and the person was caught in 1981. So it has actually recently come back into the news. And it is different because it is not a murder. It is about a serial rapist. So this was brought back into the media. So we're filming this September 9th. This case came back into the media on September 5th, last Friday.
Oh.
So I kind of jumped on it because there's some things around this case that is interesting, and I actually learned something that I did not know. There is a question of kind of some legalities around it. Also, I was very curious about what you would think, and I think you'll know why.
Okay.
Once I explain it. Do you know who Kevin Coe is?
No, I don't. Okay.
So I'm at a preference. I would just want to take one note before we actually start. So I'm not going to go into full details about the family of him, and I actually don't know a lot about his victims, because they chose to kind of keep that more private, which is totally okay. I'm fully support it. We are going to talk a little bit about his mom. And for lack of a better description, they have a very bizarre, questionable relationship.
Oh.
So we're not going to go fully into that because we would be here for like days if I try to fully discuss that relationship.
Okay.
So if
they often say that some of these predators have weird relationships with their mother. Or abusive relationships with their father.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know about that, but psychologists and psychiatrists and criminologists say all this stuff.
So it would take forever to try to untangle that, and we don't have that time. So if you are interested in this case, and more interested about that, one of my favorite true crime novelists, Jack Olson, wrote a book called Son, A Psychopath and His Victims that actually explores that relationship a little bit more.
Okay.
You're in for a treat.
Okay.
Yeah. So Kevin Coe, between 1978 and 1981, terrorized Spokane. Spokane is in like eastern Washington. It's the last city you hit before you go into Idaho.
Yeah.
Nicknamed the South Hill Rapist.
Oh.
So in 1978 and 1982. Many involved an extreme level of physical injury to the victims. They learned pretty quickly that they were dealing with one single offender because they had a distinct signature as a glove, fist, or fingers rammed in the mouth and throat of his victims.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So they actually don't have a lot of background because this was early 80s, late 70s, early 80s. So the case is not really digitalized. It is more still in the written record, so it's very hard to get like the full case.
Yes,
So I
because
can kind
back then there wasn't DNA.
so I can only kind of give you what led to his arrest and the trial and what happened after the fact.
Okay.
So in 1981, a school custodian observed a car illegally parked in a bus drop-off zone during the time a daylight rape occurred. Because he did not do this solely at night. He did this during the day.
Oh my God.
Police traced the vehicle registration to a Gordon Coe. He was the managing editor of the Spokane Chronicles.
Oh no. His son was, oh my God, in his dad's car?
Yep. So Gordon Coe was in charge of a program to receive tips on the rapist's identity.
Okay. So his dad was head of the newspaper.
Yep, the Spokane
and
Chronicle.
He was supposed to collect the tips on the rapist. And the rapist, his son, was driving around in his car. Already.
And so Gordon was ruled out immediately due to his age.
Okay.
Which is a little ageist, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Because we have seen.
Yeah.
In many cases, older people are perfectly capable.
Yeah.
But I think it was a level of violence that was inflicted on these victims.
Were the victims saying a description?
We will get into that.
Okay.
They, who was actually originally named Frederick. He actually changed his name to Kevin. He was a former Las Vegas radio announcer and an unsuccessful real estate agent.
Oh.
So at the time, his dad had let him use the car.
Okay.
Placed a tracking device on the car and discovered that in addition to targeting female joggers, he was also stalking city buses for victims.
So after they cleared the dad, they assumed it was the son?
Yes, because
so they put the tracker on the vehicle.
To trace, to follow the son. So he was attacking female joggers and apparently also targeting people on the bus. So
how many victims did he have?
Like 6.
Okay.
But we'll get into that because they're sure it was more.
Oh yeah.
So,
but back then, there was the. Do you really want to report it?
I mean, that's
are
still,
they going to believe? It's
still
same now.
It's the same thing now.
Yes.
You have a little better luck, especially if you get like a female detective. But even then, it's not a guarantee.
Yes.
Several victims identified him in photo lineups. He was arrested on 6 charges of first-degree rape, although authorities believe he was actually responsible for numerous incidents of voyeurism, indecent exposure, indecent assaults, and at least 43 rapes.
43?
And one of Coe's victims was former KREM TV and King TV meteorologist and former KHQ TV anchor Shelley Monahan. But her case was not one of the 6 because, so this case is very interesting. And this played a huge part in getting his charges reduced and getting the convictions reduced. Shelley Monahan and most of his victims, to recall key details of what happened, underwent hypnosis.
Oh, back then that's when when they just started it. And they used it so that would.
Yes. So that played into this.
Yeah, back then it wasn't I mean, you can use it now today
but it's more, that's not really it gives them probable cause.
But it doesn't, yeah.
So it's kind of a interesting.
Yeah, it could be false memories.
Yes, because eyewitnesses, even the victims, we have seen
Yeah.
cannot recall and
With
cannot
the
always
rape
recall.
with the rape kits that they have now, they can link it to DNA.
Yes.
Back then, if they didn't get a rape kit right away, they could tell blood type, I think, but they couldn't link it to a specific person.
Yes. Hi everyone. I wanted to step in here while I was editing to better explain the use of hypnosis in criminal investigations. Hypnosis is a criminal investigation is a very controversial forensic technique used to enhance a witness's recall of crime details, but it is not a standard procedure and carries significant risk of false memory creation and confabulation, potentially leading to inaccurate testimony and convictions. While it can sometimes provide useful information, its scientific validity is questioned due to the unreliable nature of memory, and strict guidelines are necessary if it's used at all, with results needing thorough cooperation and never being assumed as fact. The primary goal of forensic hypnosis is to help witnesses recall details of a crime or event that they cannot remember in their normal waking state. It can also be used to generate leads for investigators, such as helping a witness recall details about a perpetrator's appearance or the location of evidence. But there is significant risks and drawbacks using this. It's similar to how they use polygraph tests, but that offers a huge likeliness of a case being tossed out. The most significant danger is that hypnosis can induce false memories where the subject believes they are recalling accurate information when they are actually creating or distorting those memories. It goes into the whole issue that hypnosis, when they are in hypnotic state, are more susceptible. And any information that's given to them as they're trying to recall it can be used to can be unintentionally usually incorporated into their recall, and they can actually make them more confident about their testimony even if the memories are unreliable or fabricated. There is specific things that they have to do and a lot of caution they have to take if they go this route. Like, forensic hypnosis is generally used only in specific cases involving key witnesses or victims, and only after consultation with the Department of Justice. Sessions are usually conducted by qualified health professionals, so psychologists, psychiatrists, rather than investigators, and a rigid code of conduct must be followed, including detailed procedures, written permissions from the Assistant Attorney General, and a complete recording of the entire interview. And then any information obtained through this must be thoroughly checked and rechecked and checked by other evidence to ensure its accuracy. It's controversial because modern psychological understanding emphasizes that memory is not a permanent, easily accessible storehouse, but a malleable and reconstructive process. So due to this high risk of unreliable information, many courts have restricted and even prohibited the use of hypnosis-induced testimony. There are a few cases where it has been successful, such as there's a very famous kidnapping case. I cannot recall the name of it right this second, but a bus driver was put under hypnosis, and they were able to recall 2 license plate numbers, one of which was nearly correct and led to the arrest of the kidnapper. And then there was a robbery case in which a witness was able to provide the license plate of the getaway van after being hypnotized. So there are some success stories, but 9 times out of 10, they're not going to do it, especially nowadays. He was originally put on trial in 1981, and he was convicted on 4 of the 6 charges.
Okay.
It was first-degree rape.
Okay.
The case was it was a strong case, but it was all circumstantial evidence.
Yes.
That's all it was.
And today's date now, circumstantial will get you convicted.
Debatable.
Yeah.
Depends on it depends on the jury. It depends on how
Yeah, and it
convincing you can
depends
be
on the prosecutor too.
on if they think they can win. So in addition to the positive identification given by the 6 victims, he had received speeding tickets in the same areas right after the rapes occurred. His blood type matched that left at the scene, and like the rapist, he was a creator. So that means his blood type showed up in his bodily fluids.
Okay.
So Cole's alibi was that he was either having breakfast or dining with his parents during the time the attacks occurred, or else so his mom was a socialite. So family image is a very big deal.
Oh yeah.
So his mom testified that he was teaming up with her and a mother and son vigilante squad to follow local buses in order to try to capture the real rapists themselves.
Oh my God.
Better. It gets better. The mom gets better. Like I said, they had a very interesting relationship. I have a lot of questions about it. I've read the book. I still have a lot of questions surrounding that relationship.
Oh my God.
So.
Okay, let's team up and go chase
Travis Decker?
Yeah.
So at sentencing, a psychiatrist hired by the defense testified that Cole had confessed to the 6th rape. This did nothing to reduce his consecutive sentences, which amounted to life plus 75 years.
Okay.
Coe would later recant this, claiming he had concocted the story, thinking he'd be sentenced to a psychosexual treatment center instead of prison.
Okay. But was he deemed to be able to stand trial? So he wasn't mentally...
So he went on a jury trial.
Okay.
So in June 1984, so he went on trial in 1981. So this is 3 years later of a life sentence plus 75 years.
Okay.
So that is what he's currently serving.
Okay.
So cut to June 1984, 3 years after his trial, Washington State Supreme Court tossed out all of his convictions.
Why?
Because many of the victims had been hypnotized before formally identifying him. So not only were they doing it to recall details of the attacker, they were doing hypnosis to identify prior to him being identified.
It would be kind of like looking in the paper, seeing him being arrested and go, oh, that's him.
Yes.
Okay.
So it was to get key details, but they did it when they were interviewing them, and then they did it again right before he was identified.
Okay. Which
is kind of a big no-no. So he was released on bail for a year before the new proceeding, where he was retried on the 4 counts. So they dropped the 2.
Yes, because they couldn't get conviction on him.
For which he had been convicted, and was convicted again on 3 of them. And he was sentenced to life plus 55 years.
Even longer?
No, he was at 75 years. So they reduced it by 20 years. His appeal of the new convictions also made it all the way to Washington Supreme Court, which in 1985 overturned 2 and upheld 1, where his accuser clearly saw his face during the attack, so there had been no need to hypnotize her. Okay.
Wow. And so how much time did he get then? That is so funny. I mean...
No, 25 years.
Okay, because, I mean, life for rape, which I think they should get, they have attempted murders. They have murderers that get less time.
Mm-hmm. So, 3 months after her son was convicted, Ruth Coe...
What did she do?
Was arrested for trying to solicitate the murder or maiming of her son's prosecutor and judge.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
She was convicted the next year and served several months in jail.
Only several months?
Only months. For trying to solicit murder or maiming.
Of the judge
and the prosecutor.
Months.
So her husband Gordon, whose newspaper career was ended by his son.
Oh, I bet.
By his son, by the circumstances around his conviction, called his wife's arrest a clear case of entrapment. He stood by her.
Did he stand by his son?
I guess. I'm going to assume yes, due to the fact that he stood by his wife for trying to solicit the murder and maiming of the prosecutor and judge. So I'm going to assume that he stood by his son.
I think, there's a lot of things I would stand by my kids, but I don't have a son, but I think rape might be one I wouldn't.
But if you truly don't think your son
did
it.
No, I agree. I totally agree.
So it's kind of hard to tell because they kept very quiet, which I understand.
Yes. And if I had a lot of money and everything like that, I assume I would hire the best attorney there is, and, but he admitted to it.
Yes, and so that's the hard part. So Ruth died in 1996 in Henderson, Nevada at 75 years old. She was survived by her husband, son, and their daughter.
Their daughter?
They have
who had
daughter.
To go through all this?
Yes.
Oh my God. I think I would change my name.
So, cut to Kevin Coe's confinement history. He served the entire 25-year sentence at Walla Walla State Penitentiary.
Which is, if anybody knows about Walla Walla, is maximum. It's where our death row is. It's there.
You don't want to be there.
You don't want to be there. It's really bad.
He maintained his innocence. He did not attend any prison counseling programs, and he became eligible for parole in 1992, but never applied. So, this is kind of where there are some questions of legality. So, in 1990, Washington State passed the Community Protection Act. It's a civil commitment. It's a civil commitment statute.
Yes.
So it allows states to indefinitely retain dangerous sexually violent predators even after their criminal sentences ended.
Okay. So what that means is that after, even though you get 25 years, you can end up staying in jail.
If found guilty by a jury of possessing a mental defect, that makes them likely to reoffend. Offenders are sent to the Special Commitment Center. Here in Washington, it's called McNeil Island. And we were actually the first state to do this, and 19 other states have since followed.
Yes.
So, where they receive treatment for mental disorders linked to sexual deviancy. Prosecutors attempted to apply this statute to Cole on December 22nd, 2007. A judge postponed the trial until his sentence was due for completion in September 2008. So, it's kind of a hard situation because in the perfect world, it's you do the crime, you get convicted, you do your sentence, and once you're released and you do anything that you need to do,
your parole, probation,
your fines, community service, your slate's supposed to be wiped clean. But it's not a perfect world.
No.
So I understand it.
How many people are on McNeil Island?
I will get into this. So I'll give you a background on both what a Special Commitment Center and McNeil Island is. So it's Special Commitment Center programs provide specialized mental health treatment for civilly committed sex offenders who have completed their prison sentences. Okay? So the SCC serves as a treatment lead of multi-tiered system supporting these residents and public safety.
Okay.
Before level 3 sex offenders. So this is only for level 3. These are the sexually violent predators, is what they're called.
Yeah. Here, they send out notices that tell you who's moving into your neighborhood. They
You
send
also
out
can find out
Yeah,
websites.
there's a
But yeah,
website,
they
but
send
they
out
send
flyers.
out flyers in and what it tells you what
Hmm.
level they are. They send a picture. They send out what they've been convicted of, everything like that to your house.
Yeah, we've gotten quite a few of them.
Yes.
So before level 3 sex offenders complete their sentence, a committee of experts evaluate whether they have mental abnormalities, which makes them more likely to reoffend. The end of sentence review committee includes representatives for the Department of Corrections. So you got Department of Corrections, you got the Department of Children, Youth, and Family Services, Department of Social and Health Services, the Intermediate Review Board, and you have law enforcement. And that can be arresting officers or the prison staff.
Yes.
So the court system then orders these residents to the special. Once this review board goes, they get ordered to these centers. Courts may at a later time order residents to less restrictive alternatives than the total confinement facility, and in some cases, many order residents to be unconditionally released. All residents also have defense attorneys advocating on their behalfs.
Yes.
So when residents transition to they're called LRAs in the community, so they're residential housing basically.
Yes.
The Department of Corrections provides security recommendations and assigns each resident a corrections specialist. And while SCC maintains oversight of residents, the treatment transfers to community sex offense treatment providers. So that's what the special commitment centers are.
Yes.
So McNeil Island is nestled in the middle of the Puget Sound.
I know exactly where that is.
It's home to 214 residents, and they are all men that Washington State considers its most dangerous sex offenders.
Yes.
They live at a special commitment center. All men have served their sentences, and yet, due to a controversial legal mandate, they remain confined indefinitely. And there is a way they can advocate for reviews.
Yes, they can.
But they are unlikely to be granted.
Yes. Which in some way.
So that's kind of where I
understand them trying to protect us. As a female, I understand them trying to protect us. But, I mean, they've served their time. I mean, they've served their time. So, unless they were sentenced for life, how can we hold them past their sentence?
So, one of the attorneys who represents some of the men confined to the commitment center is Kelly Canary.
Okay.
She says that some people are often shocked when they discovered that even after they've completed their sentence, they've served their time and get out of prison, they can be civilly committed and detained for the rest of their life.
Yes.
So each of the residents have previously been convicted of at least one sex crime, and that's including sexual assault, rape, and child molestation.
Well,
a court has then found them to meet the legal definition of a sexually violent predator, meaning that they have a mental abnormality or personality disorder that makes them likely to engage in repeat sexual violence.
I mean, do you put them on this island and they go back into the community and do it again and then end up in prison? Yep. But, I mean, putting them on an island, and this is an island. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a ferry ride and a bus ride. Yeah, it's an island. So civic commitment centers, which exist in fewer than half of the U.S. states, are meant as a community safeguard and a means of providing treatments to the offenders. But they're riddled with controversies. Criminal justice reform advocates fear the implications of predicting future risk and basing confinement on what someone might do. Yeah, that's the key word, is what they might do.
And there's only just over 200 people there.
214.
Yeah, and they're all men. And I don't know.
And plus, these facilities are costly.
They're very costly.
And have low release numbers, making little known about whether they are doing anything to actually keep the community safe. So,
Yeah, I mean, did they force them to go to? I mean, if you're
no,
talking about them,
no. So they're not forced to do the treatments. And that comes into play.
well, yeah, I mean, if you don't think you're going to get out, why would you go to treatment?
Hmm.
I mean, if there was something done in the where they said, "Oh, you could get out in 3 years if you do this, this, and
And
this."
can actually show it. But the thing, yeah, so what has come out is that no matter what center they've looked at, because of the low release rates, there's actually no proof that this is actually helping.
Yes, I'd be mad.
Well, especially because little is known about whether or not there are allowed visitations from families.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, Washington Civil Commitment Center is unique, not only for its banished to an island affinity, but it was the first of its kind. And this
I
came in 1988 when a convicted sex offender, his name was Gene Raymond Kane, abducted, raped, and murdered a lady named Diane Ball. I am so sorry. It's Ballasitz. She was 29 years old, and at the time of the incident, Kane had been released from prison to a work release center. Because that's also something Washington has, is work release centers.
Yes, they do.
Her death, followed by 2 other disturbing sexual assaults by different assailants, fueled a public outcry that eventually led the governor to sign the Community Protection Act of 1990. The act was a package of laws aimed at sex offenders, including tougher sentences. And this is also what started the sex offender registration.
In Washington,
In Washington. And the creation of a procedure that allowed authorities to indefinitely lock up sex offenders when a court believes them a continued threat to the community.
Okay.
So we're going to jump back to Cole. I promise that we're almost to the point.
Okay.
So while preparing for the hearing, a new search of the Spokane Police's evidence room turned up a box containing a rape kit slide with DNA, which was a match to Coe. However, the DNA evidence that matched Coe's was not for any of the other rape convictions that had been overturned, but for the rape of which he had just served time. Upon the completion of the prison sentence, he was transferred to McNeil Island to await the civil commitment trial, which began on September 15, 2008, and then ended on October 15, 2008. So about a month.
Okay.
The prosecution and defense rested their case. The next day, after several hours of deliberation, the jury decided that the prosecution had proven beyond reasonable doubt, because to do this, they still have the same thing as a normal court trial, is that they have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt.
Okay.
And it has to be unanimous.
Okay.
It has to be. That Coe was a violent sexual predator, so then he was committed indefinitely to McNeil Island. So as of March 24, 2011, Coe's appeal of the trial proceeding to be civilly committed as a sexual predator was denied. He has been diagnosed with mixed personality disorder with narcissistic, histrionic, and antisocial features. He also received a score of 25.3 on the psychopathy checklist, which nearly all of the core personality traits of psychopath indicated. Okay. So here we are. This is the point. So Coe is now 77 years old. He has served 25 years and an additional 19 years on McNeil Island. So this is almost 4 decades after the first rape. Okay?
Yeah.
So he is in poor health.
Do we let him go?
So he has suffered a stroke, heart failure, dehydration, degenerative disc disease, and other ailments. He is described as frail, has withdrawn socially, and has little motivation to take care of himself, according to court records. His main activity is watching TV. So this decline in his mental and physical health has led experts to believe Coe has a very low risk of sexual
and we're paying for all of his
yes.
health.
Yes. they don't believe he's going to be reoffend. Wow, I don't know why that was so hard. So in order to keep him at the island facility, the state would have to continually provide evidence showing Coe as a danger to society. The state can no longer meet its burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt that Coe is likely to reoffend if released. So here's where the big issue is.
Do most people age out of this system?
They die.
Oh.
They die there.
Well, the Golden State Killer,
So, despite serving 25 years in prison in Walla Walla,
plus another 19
on Menial Island, experts still regard Coe as being in the first stage to change his behavior. He has declined to engage in sex offender treatment, and not much is known about whether he continues to endorse, supports, or wants to engage in sexually violent activities, according to court records. His treatment plan states he possesses a high level of psychopathy traits and has often engaged in grievance-based thinking, saying, "I'm the real victim and I've been treated unfairly." He was also diagnosed with several sex-based disorders. So from day one, he still to this day says that that they have the wrong person and that he is the real victim.
But there's false, they do say that there are false testimony and stuff like that they say they did it and then they say they didn't do it, and was it coerced or but his mother's saying that they were following I just kind of
so as required by law, because it is law, Coe will face a hearing in Spokane County on September 12, 2025, where his victims are expected to speak. An actual trial, is set for October 2nd to determine if Coe should be released. If that happens, he will be sent to an adult family home in Spanaway, where he will receive 24-hour care. Hi everyone, me again. So, as I'm editing this on Sunday, September 14th, they've held the trial, but they've held the hearing, but there has not been any releases on what was said, what has been thought. So the next step is to go to the trial in October. So hopefully by then we will know what has come out of this. So
we still have to foot the bill.
Yes.
Because I'm assuming his parents are not alive anymore.
Well, his mom is. I don't know about his dad. I'm assuming his dad isn't. Yeah. And I'm assuming his sister probably wants nothing to do with him.
Well, we're assuming. We're assuming a lot.
Kind of have to.
Yeah.
So state lawmakers were notified of Coe's potential release via email from an official at the State Department of Social and Health Services. The email noted that Coe was scheduled for an unconditional release hearing on October 2nd. According to the email, it is highly likely the civil commitment case against Coe will be dismissed and that he would be released to the family home as soon as within 24 hours of the hearing.
Well, it's kind of scary that he'd be going to a family home, that may be male and female, and that would be kind of scary. I wouldn't want my grandma or my aunt or anybody like that in the same home as him. Or he may be going to a home that specializes
for prisoners, or something like that.
Yeah.
But so everyone, of course, is shocked and unhappy about this decision.
Yes.
So
especially the victims.
Yes. Actually, I give props to the state. So State Senator Mark Schultzler, who is a Republican from Ritzville, said he plans to introduce or co-sponsor legislation next session to prevent or at least make it harder for DSHS or other agencies to release people guilty of such heinous crimes. So he says that Kevin Coe is one of the most dangerous and infamous criminals in our state's history. He was suspected of raping many women and girls as young as 14 before being arrested in 1981 and ultimately found guilty of first-degree rape. It's unbelievable that the state would even consider releasing him.
Yeah. And how many did you say it was?
So he was ultimately convicted of 3, but they believe it was 43 rapes.
43.
Plus voyeurism, indecent exposure, and indecent assault.
That's crazy.
So this case interests me because of McNeil Island, because I kind
Yeah.
of forgot about it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the legality of commitment centers after prisoners have served their sentences.
Yes.
Because, as I said, in a perfect world, the whole point is when you commit a crime, you receive the punishment, you serve that punishment, and then you're released. At least that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And then they put you in, but
then and so from what I'm understanding, is that they have an attorney defending them, but they're not there speaking on their own behalf.
Yeah. This is like such a tough question.
But it is why I bring it, because it was announced Friday, so that was September 5th, that this was happening.
Yeah.
And how they all found out was they were all notified in an email. And then the victims and their families were notified after that. So
I don't know. If I was a victim, I don't know. 19 years after his prison sentence.
After 25 years.
Yeah. I don't know. I just truly do not know.
It's such a hard...
Yeah.
It's really hard. Because I want to see the aftermath. Like, I want to know if this is actually, like, helping.
Yes. And I can't imagine how much it costs to keep them on that island. But then it's going to be how much we have to pay in care to be in one of those private...
And Washington residents pay a lot.
Yeah, it's very expensive here. It's very, very expensive. Those private homes or the adult homes are very expensive. The cost of living in Washington is very expensive. I just don't know how much it costs to... I know that keeping people in jail here is very expensive. People... It's... Oh,
I'm sorry. McNeil Island's population is actually 129 residents now.
Oh, okay.
In addition to the residents, apparently there are over 300 staff members.
What?
Including doctors and psychologists who work on the island.
129 and there's 300 staff members?
Mm-hmm. So apparently the island was formerly a prison.
Yes, that I knew.
In the year 2000, they actually reached 1,516 residents.
Yeah, and then they closed it down.
It was decommissioned in 1998.
Crazy. That's absolutely crazy. 300 people for 129. That's nuts. Most prisons have half that for a huge population.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't work there, so he's looking up the facts right now so we don't tell you the wrong thing.
So apparently, so it used to be called McNeil Island Correction Center, and when it closed in 2011, they saved $14 million. And it is actually the only detention center for it is the only remaining island prison, because it is a prison.
Yeah, it's kind of like Alcatraz, but
it is the only one prison in the country to be accessible only by air and sea.
Yes, you have to take a ferry out there.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, a secured boat.
Oh, I thought it was
nope. So it's a secured boat, and the only way to leave the island is by judge's permission.
Oh. Well, the families aren't going out there to visit. I don't know. That would be interesting to find out if the families visit there.
Apparently, Charles Manson's been to this prison.
I believe it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. So, check out McNeil Island.
Mm-hmm. So, apparently, sorry, I'm looking it up. So, there's no information on how much it actually costs to house them there. That's actually hidden. I cannot find it, which is kind of unusual.
And that's kind of scary.
That's actually unusual because Washington's very...
Yeah, they're usually transparent.
Okay, so it took me a while and a lot of digging, and there is actually no recent numbers. The last time that they were transparent about the cost of McNeil Island was in 2018. And according to them, the cost per resident in 2018 was $185,000 and it was $185,136. And that was for the population of 214. So a 2011 Office of Financial Management report noted that the island location added significant costs, particularly for marine services, which made up about 1/3 of the total cost in 2012. And that with the populations, as the population fluctuates, with the 2018 figure of 214 residents being the most recently cited population for civil commitment at that time, the current cost may differ due to changes in operation and inflation. So apparently the most famous inmates on this was Robert Stroud, the Birdman of Alcatraz.
Yeah, I believe it.
Who was held there from 1909 to 1912. Charles Manson was an inmate from 1961 to 66 before inspiring Helter Skelter with killing Sharon Tate, because that occurred in 1969. And Alvin Karpis, who was transferred to McNeil Island in 1962 from Alcatraz as a result of his impending closure to complete his sentence. Karpis was labeled the FBI's public enemy #1 at the time of his capture in 1936.
Swimming off McNeil would be much easier than swimming off Alcatraz.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to update you when we find out more information about McNeil Island.
Well, no, it'll probably be an update once this hearing comes.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We want to see if they let him out or not.
Well, they're likely to because, the state can't meet a burden of proof anymore. Yeah. He's 77 and failing health, and even with what the families would say, you can't meet that burden of proof anymore.
No.
But this is why I bring it up, is because this is a very interesting concept, and it's there's a lot of legality questions around it, but it's also there's just a lot of
on whether you actually believe it or not, whether they should do it or not,
and it's hard because I understand where everyone's coming from, because I agree, I would want a treatment facility, but they also can't produce the records, they can't produce anything that shows if this is actually helping or not.
Yeah.
Because they're not forced
to do anything.
To participate.
Yeah, but so let me ask you this. Would they actually get anything out of it if they were forced to get out of bed and go?
They have a likely better chance of getting a review and potentially getting released.
I don't know. I just think if they're forced to do something they don't want to do, it's not going to help.
And also the problem is that even though a lot of these residents are doing the treatment, they're doing the programs, they're gardening, they've changed their lives. Because there's one guy there who completely changed his life and hates what he did. He turned to Buddhism. He has completely changed, and he still can't get a review.
Yeah.
He has recanted. He has apologized. He has done everything that they told him to do.
Yeah. And he still can't get review.
And he still can't get released. And he's still there.
Yeah.
So it's just...
Yeah, what do you do? I mean...
in this situation.
Yeah.
So, but that is what I have.
Okay.
Very curious, though.
Yeah. I'm definitely interested in what you guys have to say about McNeil Island.
Uh-huh. And what you think. Because it's a dilemma.
It is. And she was saying, and my daughter was saying that 19 other states have done this.
Have done a specialized treatment for sexual predators.
Okay, so this should be my last edit. But the states that also have a program are Arizona, California, Florida, Illinois, Iowa, Kansas, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, North Dakota, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, and Texas. Texas is actually a little bit different because they require an outpatient treatment rather than confinement, which is vastly different than all of the other states. And then you have Virginia and Wisconsin that rounds it out. And as we said earlier, there's a lot of constitutional challenges raising questions about these laws, arguing they are essentially continued incarceration without due process protections afforded by criminal law. However, the U.S. Supreme Court has upheld them as civil procedure, so it's kind of a weird gray area. And states require a diagnosis of a mental abnormality or a mental disorder that predisposes a person to sexually violent behavior, but the exact criteria and required proof do vary. And that the practice of indefinite civil commitment remains controversial, with opponents questioning its effectiveness and claiming it functions as a shadow prison system. So, like we said, I'm very curious to hear what you guys think about this, because it's different.
And I actually can't figure out what states they are. I was not able to figure that out.
Oh.
So if anyone knows, please let me know.
Yeah.
So I would love to look more into this.
I don't think it's an island.
No, we're the only island.
We're the only island.
We're the only state in the country that has a prison island still.
Oh my
because
God.
Let's be real here. They can call it a treatment center. It is a prison still.
Isn't Rikers Island
It's, yeah, but it's still, it's not in the middle of the thing. It's still connected.
Yeah.
It's still connected by the land. Isn't there a bridge?
I think there's a bridge.
There's not a bridge to McNeil Island.
We don't know anything about New York. We're just telling you.
And, like, I know McNeil Island because it's near Fox Island.
Yeah. This is actually near where our family is.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But I'm curious about what you guys think.
Okay. Well, I think we're done for this today.
Yeah, I promise you will get your Ted Bundy episode next week.
Okay. Ted Bundy.
Thank you, guys.